This week in Astrology Magic, I'm sharing with you the astrological energy report for the week because there is a lot of astrology this week. This is a week of massive growth, but also checking yourself and reflecting and then having to heal and then in more growth and moving forward again. And so it's kind of that tug and pull back and forth energy. This is the energy report that I shared inside my Cosmic Co-Creatrix astrology membership. It's an astrology membership where I guide you through the astrology to gain a lot of self-awareness, but also grow and expand and co-create your life with the cosmos. And I'm doing something a little different in my membership than most astrology memberships. So how I'm doing things differently is I'm bringing the future into it. We're using Chat GPT. Specifically, I have a really powerful astrology Chat GPT that I use. And when you combine understanding the astrology and these astrology energy reports with knowing how to ask ChatGPT the right questions about how this energy shows up in your birth chart and lessons you're here to learn, you can have really personalized, tailored advice and wisdom and self-development tools specific to you that can fast track your growth. And gosh, I have just seen rapid transformation combining the power of ChatGPT with the current astrological currents with self-concept work. So that's another thing I add in as I talk about your self-concept and how that is everything for co-creating with the universe. And so in the Cosmic Co-Creatrix, I'm not only giving you these weekly energy reports, I'm really guiding you to think about how you need to think about yourself because that is where your true power is. So with this energy report I have coming up, you're going to get a taste of what it's like to be inside the Cosmic Co-Creatrix. And then if you go down to the show notes below, I gave you the ChatGPT prompts that I shared in the Cosmic Co-Creatrix, and you can use those to guide your week and have some massive transformation. And once you have massive transformation this week and you want more, I also have the link to join the Cosmic Co-Creatrix down in the show notes. You get all of this astrological guidance plus wisdom on how to ask ChatGPT the right questions so that you can get breakthroughs tailored to you. I'm so excited for this episode. Let's dive in. This week is packed with a lot of wanting to move forward on a new path and then having to check yourself. It really exemplifies how when we're co-creating our life, when we're building our life or manifesting something or healing or growing, any of it, it's non-linear. We're going to be moving forward and then there's going to be setbacks. And then we're going to move forward again and then there's going to be more setbacks. I have 5 overall themes for this week because there's a lot of astrology. The first theme is emotional release and rebuilding. So the full moon in Cancer is going to be on Monday. That's going to kickstart the week. And on Monday, we also have Uranus in Taurus in a harmonious sextile to the moon in Cancer. And the moon in Cancer is hanging out with Mars in Cancer retrograde. And then we have Uranus in Taurus and another harmonious aspect to the sun in Capricorn. Now, the sun in Capricorn is highlighting and illuminating the life we want to build, the future we want to create, the new structures we want to put in place in our life. And Mars retrograde is reflecting on how we take action from our emotions. It's reflecting on how we take certain actions in order to find emotional stability. It is our reactions that we learned from our ancestry, our upbringing, all those different things when Mars is in Cancer, and we're reflecting on it. We're reflecting on, why do I take the actions that I take? And are they actually creating the life that I want to create? Mars is going to be with this full moon. It's hanging out with it. It's charging this full moon. And so you could take an action that's based on an old version of you. It could just be old, tired action. You've always reacted in this way, and it's not a way you're proud of, and yet you did it again. And you want to break free. And that is what Uranus and Taurus is helping you do in the beginning of this week. And that's what I mean by we could have a buildup of emotion that leads to a release and a breakthrough. So Uranus in Taurus is breaking us free from our values. It's helping us align with values that are more in alignment with our authenticity and our truth. Uranus in Taurus is helping us slow down and take our time and realize there doesn't have to be a rush. And that sometimes we emotionally react because we think it has to be right now. Uranus in Taurus is teaching us to play the long game. Uranus in Taurus is helping us reconnect with the present moment in nature and what we truly value in our self-worth and what truly matters. It's giving us breakthroughs in our self-worth. So if we think about self-worth, values, money, being present, taking our time, and being in authentic alignment with that, with our truth, with what's authentic for you, how could that be giving you a breakthrough in how you react emotionally to certain situations? How could you be having a breakthrough in how you go about reacting to things in order to find emotional security and emotional stability? Do you take responsibility for your reactions, for your emotions? That is what the sun in Capricorn is illuminating. And if you haven't taken responsibility for how you react to certain things, then it creates a certain result. This could be a breakthrough in your values. It could be a breakthrough in your self-worth. This could be where you get a surprise bill, or you tend to have this pattern with money where you're always in scarcity. You make a lot of money and then you spend a lot of money. And it's this constant loop. And the way you find emotional security is it feels emotionally good to spend money when you have it. And then it also creates emotional security for you to freak out and feel scarce when you don't have it. And you could have a breakthrough at this full moon that you being in scarcity and reacting from scarcity is what's creating this pattern. It's what's continuing to build this life. And so you could have a breakthrough in how you wield money and how you respond to money and how you respond to bills and how you respond to bringing in money and your income. You could emotionally react to something because you didn't feel worthy. And this could be a breakthrough in recognizing, oh, I make those certain actions or I build my life in this certain way because I don't feel worthy of the life I actually want. It could also be recognizing, oh, I allow certain people into my life because I don't feel worthy of people who are really in alignment with my values. It could also be a breakthrough in a relationship that you have where you realize they're not in alignment with your values anymore. And they're not in alignment with your integrity and the future you want to create. Capricorn is integrity. Are you in integrity with yourself? Or are you being reactive emotionally just to give yourself emotional security, just to get something outside of you? The highest expression of Capricorn, which remember the sun's in Capricorn, is connecting to yourself and connecting to what you truly need and not reacting to make something happen outside of you, but making yourself feel emotionally safe and secure and then allowing yourself to build your life from that. If you were really true to yourself and what you need, how would you build your life? I want you to think about that on Monday. And again, it could come with a big emotional release. That could be how you figure it out. And another thing about if you do react emotionally, Capricorn in its highest expression takes responsibility for its emotional reactions. So in the beginning of the week, if you do find yourself reacting, ask yourself, why? Where did I learn this? Why do I always react in this way? And is it serving the life I want to build? If it's not, how can I take responsibility for this in this situation and do something differently? How can I take responsibility and reach back out to the friend that maybe I reacted at and tell them that was my B and I'm not going to do that anymore because my values are shifting? So that's what I mean. There's some sort of breakthrough in your values, and it's related to you connecting to yourself and figuring out why you do what you do so you can heal it and start to build your life from true love, true connection to self, true emotional security and stability. Not this reactionary emotional security and stability. The second theme we have is happening on Tuesday, and it is Jupiter in Gemini squaring Venus in Pisces. Okay. This is balancing expansion with boundaries. It's recognizing that not everyone is in alignment with your truth, and not everyone is in alignment with your energy, and energy doesn't lie. And you could have had this big breakthrough at the full moon and realized, oh my God, I've been living my life not for me. If I were to truly live my life in alignment with what I want to do, this is what I would do. And you could tell someone, this is what I'm going to do. And they could shit on your parade and give you all of your fears and tell you why it's not going to happen and confuse you. That's one way this aspect could play out. So be careful who you share your dreams with. Not everyone is in alignment with your truth. Some people will make you question your truth because of their own fears, because of their own self-sabotaging behaviors. And here's another thing. This could also be like a conversation gone wrong where you're wanting to speak your truth in a relationship because Venus is in Pisces. That's what this square is too. And you could have thought that the person in your relationship would get your truth, that it would bring you deeper into unconditional love with each other, that it would help you merge and transform and grow together. And they could not get your truth. They could just keep projecting their own truth onto you and not see your truth. And you could be going back and forth, projecting each other's truth and not seeing eye to eye. You know, this also makes me think of when we want to grow and expand and we think other people are the problem. And so we project our problems, our blocks onto other people, and we try to get them to change, and then they get really pissed off and are like, what the hell? I'm not the problem. Stop projecting this onto me. And then they get mad at you, and it's this back and forth fight, and they could have gotten mad at you for the very reason you're mad at them. They're like, wow, F you. I feel that way too. Why don't you see my side? And it's that confusing back and forth conversation of not seeing eye to eye because you're both coming from your own truth. Yeah, that could definitely be that aspect on Tuesday. Wanting people to see your truth and not recognizing that they are a mirror for you and that they're likely fighting you because they're coming from the same truth and that there's a deeper thing there for you guys to heal. But this could also be because Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter wants to expand our opportunities, but Gemini is very focused on the facts and what it knows. And with the square to Venus in Pisces, you could be thinking, am I delusional to have these dreams? Am I really worthy of having these dreams? Are these dreams in alignment with my values? So it could be this back and forth of like, can I really go after all these big dreams? Am I really worthy of it? I don't know if I'm worthy of it. Other people can do it, but can I do it? And it can be this confusing energy. But it can also be an energy where you're blocking yourself because you're making up stories on why you're not worthy and you're overthinking it. And you're thinking that you have to have this whole plan and you have to have every step of the way, and you don't. Because the North Node in Pisces is telling you just have to take things one step at a time. You just have to take the next most loving step. You just have to take the step that's going to give you more energy. If something is not giving you energy, you don't have to force it and overthink it and try to force it to give you energy. Surrender. Surrender and allow your values and what you truly love to guide the way. It will likely guide you to something that is very surprising for you. You know, with Venus and Pisces, though, it could also feel like our values are dissolving. As we're growing and expanding how we're thinking about things, we're becoming this new version of ourselves and we're starting to value different things. And now we're figuring out how to be this new person, and it can feel confusing. So just keep that in mind. That's theme number 2. It's happening on Tuesday. You'll likely feel it a lot of the week. Really great question to ask yourself is, what would the next most loving step be? And how can I take responsibility for my truth and how I feel and not need another person to get it? And how can I actually see how another person is a mirror for me? How can I see how the money I attract into my life is a mirror for me? And where are certain relationships not aligning with my values and I need to put up boundaries so I can be in alignment with my values and in alignment with my truth? That could also be another way this plays out. Maybe it's not that you need to understand your friend. It's that you need to speak your truth and you realize you're not on the same page at all. And you're realizing you need to put boundaries up if you're going to keep honoring your truth and growing and expanding. And then theme number 3, we have intensity and potential conflicts. And this is on January 15th. That's Wednesday. We have the sun in Capricorn opposite Mars in Cancer. So the sun in Capricorn is highlighting our goals, where we want to be responsible, where we want to build our new life. And when it's opposite Mars in Cancer, Mars is in retrograde. It's reflecting on how we take action based on our emotions. I talked about this with the full moon. So you could be wanting to take a certain action or react emotionally in a certain way, and it could be at odds with this life you want to build. Another way this could play out, though, is maybe you're so used to building your life and just being disciplined and going for the goal no matter what and being responsible that it feels really scary to meet your needs. And maybe you're reflecting on, I actually have no gas or willpower to continue to build these goals right now because I need to meet my needs. I need to make myself feel better. I need to do something that feels more loving. I need to nurture myself. I need to give myself self-care. And it could feel really scary for you. And you could have that inner conflict on Wednesday. It could also be that you're just wanting to create this new life and you're trying to figure out what is the most loving step? What do I need? I've never even asked myself this before. And it can feel like you're trying to figure out whether this path to reaching your goals is in alignment with you or not because you don't even know what it feels like. And you could be reflecting on it a lot. You could have conflict that day. You know, with the sun in Capricorn, it is highlighting where we can, on the low expression of Capricorn, it can be cold, it can be dismissive and be like, fuck your feelings. I just need to reach my goals. Capricorn can be a very avoidant energy. And with Mars in Cancer, Mars is having us react emotionally. You could have had an emotional conflict with someone and then shut down and be cold about it and not want to continue to go deeper with them and not want to resolve it and not want to find the healing and just shut down and avoid. And you could be going back and forth between, I want to share how I feel because I want to get this resolution, but also like, F that person, I want to feel better, I have to create boundaries. And it could be this back and forth between, okay, do I go deeper into a relationship and actually like deeper into these emotions and figure out why we're in this fight and gain some healing? Or do I just avoid, shut down, and be cold? It's really highlighting tension between ambition and you just wanting a certain result and meeting your emotional needs. And here's the thing, when we really want a certain result and we just want to push ahead, or maybe we've done certain things and we've created a certain life, it can be really hard to connect to what you truly need. Because maybe you built this whole business, maybe you built this whole life. And if you really connected to what you truly needed and what would truly bring you emotional stability, you would tear this business down. And you could be going back and forth between, do I really honor my heart and what I need? Or do I just keep going about building this thing because it's the responsible thing to do? So there's this tension. And then theme number 4 is we have inspired vision meets practical action. This is where we're moving forward again. Do you see how the tug and pull energy I'm talking about for the week? So on Friday and Saturday, that's when this energy exacts, but you could feel it other times this week. So we have the sun sextile Neptune, the sun sextile the North Node, and Venus conjunct Saturn. So again, the sun is in Capricorn. It's wanting us to build our new future, create new structures, see how we can work on our structures to make them last the long term. Saturn wants your life to be built to last for the long term. It wants you to do it right. And Neptune is the land of all possibilities. It can be a little ungrounded. It is very spiritual and it is very connected to what's possible. And so because Saturn in Capricorn is so focused on the here and now, what Neptune is helping the Capricorn sun do is it's helping you expand your energy, expand what's possible for you in life, expand what's possible for you to build in this life. I always feel like whenever we are manifesting something into our life and we're becoming a new version of ourselves, it takes repetition of reminding yourself you're that new version. And as you remind yourself you're not that new version, you slowly start to feel differently. It's like bridging that gap. And as you slowly start to feel differently, because you feel like that new version of yourself, you start to see different paths you can take and different actions you can take to build this future. And that's a really great way you could use the sun sextile Neptune, is combine spirituality with practicality to continue along your journey. If you feel blocked in building this new life that you have, ask yourself, what is the next most loving step? If I was the version of myself who has this dream life, what action would I take? With the sun in Capricorn also sextile the North Node in Pisces, that's very similar to the sun sextiling Neptune because the North Node in Pisces is ruled by Neptune, except for that the North Node is a karmic destiny point. And so this is a karmic destiny activation of where you're meant to go. And here's the thing too, because Pisces is endings, this could be you ending an old chapter for you in order to start a new chapter that's rooted in love and spirituality and your wildest hopes and dreams. A new future that you build one step at a time by following the next most loving step. With Venus conjunct Saturn, it's helping us put boundaries around our values. It's helping us put boundaries around our self-worth. It's helping us put boundaries around the life that we want to build. And it's like gaining the bigger picture from a spiritual visualization, for example, and then writing it down and allowing it to bring you to the next best step. So you see what I'm saying? It's like taking spirituality and then being like, well, what would that version of myself do? What action would I take? Putting boundaries around it. It's grounding that dream into reality. If we're going to ground a dream into reality, then we have to close off certain things. We have to let go of certain relationships. We have to let go of certain income streams. We have to let go of certain values in order to start to embody the energy of this new version of ourselves and move forward. You know, Venus is our relationships. With it conjunct Saturn, not everyone is meant to come with you. One of the things that I've really come to learn the last year, I will say, and I learned this through being in a relationship with Ryan. So me and Ryan have been together 7 years now. Before I was in a relationship with Ryan, I always got with these guys that weren't exactly in alignment with my values. And then because of that, I just believed marriage wasn't for me and that I was never going to love someone long term. And remember, Saturn wants you to love the thing long term. So I would get with all of these guys and the relationship would end. I would end it because I just thought I wasn't meant to marry anyone. And what it really was I lowered my self-worth to be with these people who are not in alignment with my values. And it wasn't that there was something wrong with me, that I was just this anomaly and I was never going to find my people. It's that I didn't value myself enough to put up those boundaries with who really belonged in my life. And so I'd get into these relationships and then not be super happy because I didn't really like him. And then when I started dating Ryan, he was the first guy that was so in alignment with my values. And it was terrifying to start the relationship with him. I said in the beginning of our relationship, you're my first scary relationship. You're the first risk I feel like I'm taking in a relationship. And the most hilarious thing was the risk wasn't because I thought he would leave me or cheat on me or be a bad person. The risk was he was so in alignment with my values, and if I were to hold myself to a higher self-worth, it was scary. I was like, what if I'm not good enough for this person? What if I lose him? And since then, the 7 years, we've worked through a lot of that. Now I feel more than equal to him, and we've had the most strongest, tried and true, long-lasting, deepest, loving relationship I've ever had. And so over this last year, I've started to do it with a lot of clients and things in my business. Started putting boundaries around who I allow into my sphere, who I allow myself to be friends with. And I used to think I was a worse coach because I would have clients that were not in alignment with me because I didn't value myself enough. I was like, okay, well, if you want to work with me, okay, I'll work with you, even though I didn't feel aligned with them. And since I started putting up boundaries and really speaking to my values and my worth, I now love every single one of my one-on-one clients. I fucking love them so much. And I realized it wasn't that I was a bad coach. It's that I literally was allowing people into my life that weren't in alignment with me. Where do you sacrifice yourself because you think it's going to give you a certain goal, because you think you have to? Where do you sacrifice yourself because you think it's the responsible thing to do? Where do you sacrifice yourself because you think it's the right thing to do? I have a lot of Virgo risings in my life. I see this a lot with the Virgo risings. Not saying all Virgo risings, but a lot of them I've met have Pisces ruling the 7th house as the house of one-to-one relationships. And I can't tell you how many Virgo risings I've had tell me that they thought it was a value of theirs to overextend themselves and to just be loving for everyone and not have boundaries. And they just have to be nice to everyone and blah, blah, blah. Yet they're drained as fuck. And then I tell them, well, it's because you got to put boundaries around your relationships or have definitely a self-sacrificing energy in your relationships. They're like, no, those are my values. And then they keep getting drained and drained and drained. That would happen to Ryan. Ryan is a Virgo rising. And since Saturn has been in his 7th house in Pisces, he's been putting boundaries around it. Gosh, has that man got an energy back? Gosh, is this man way less stressed? And he realized he was just self-sacrificing himself for other people. They weren't in alignment with his values. They were draining his energy. They weren't helping him reach his goals. We convince ourselves that if we sacrifice ourselves, they'll help us reach our goals. But here's the thing, Venus is also our self-worth. And if you have a low self-worth, that can also prevent you from reaching your goals. And so this is an opportunity to dream of yourself as a bigger version than you currently are. See yourself as bigger than you currently are. What would the bigger version of yourself, the version of yourself who felt more worthy, what would they do? What will be the next most loving step for them? And the final theme, this is going to be on Sunday. We have clear communication and harmonious connections. We have Mercury in Capricorn sextile Saturn and Mercury in Capricorn sextile Venus. This is a really great day for having conversations in your relationships. Do you need to put up certain boundaries in your relationships? Do you need to align with relationships that are going to help you reach your hopes and dreams? Are your current relationships helping you reach your hopes and dreams? Or do you need to put some boundaries around them? Do you need to recognize where you think that you have to have all of these people in your life that aren't in alignment with you just because you need to make money or you need the numbers or you need this? And really the opportunity is owning your worth and owning what you truly value, and it's not about overextending yourself. This is a really great aspect for having those clearing conversations in relationships that bring you into a deeper relationship because you're willing to speak your truth. You're willing to speak your values. You're willing to bring each other into integrity and hold each other to a higher standard. And it's a really amazing day to overcome those relationship blocks in order to create an even deeper bond for the long term. This is also really great planning energy, though. You know, if you really are using that spiritual energy to see yourself as a bigger version of yourself, and it brings you into these new heights and this new vision, this energy can help you create a plan to ground it down into reality for the long term. You know, you could have gotten yourself so hyped up about this new future that you're like, I'm planning this and I'm planning this and all of these feel so loving and good. And okay, this feels like in alignment with my values. And it could be this whole planning session. With Mercury sextile Saturn in Pisces, it can be showing you where your fear and your self-sabotaging behavior block you from reaching your goals too. So that's another way this sextile could show up is, you know, you could want to build this whole new future for yourself, but where are you allowing your fear to drain your energy? And you're allowing your fear and your projections from other people stop you from building this new life. Maybe you're afraid of what other people will think if you go ahead and do this. And the energy this Sunday is really helping you work through that. And say, if you want to be this new version of yourself, it doesn't matter what other people think. It's about you owning you, boo. It's about you embodying yourself as that person. And what you think, you create. This is very deep manifesting energy on Sunday. What you think manifests into your external reality. If you have fear that's propelling your goals and how you think about planning your goals, you will manifest that into your external reality. If you think about love and your values and what would feel so nourishing and good and pleasurable for you as you build towards your goals, that will create your external reality. So, great day for thoughtful conversations, practical planning, and strengthening your relationships. And that is this week. like I said, a lot of back and forth energy. Growth is not linear. Building your dream life is not linear. You're going to be learning lessons about yourself this week. And ask yourself, what would be the next most loving step? All right. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week or in the community chat.